You can see several live looks right here over on the right-hand side of your screen. That is a look at Atlanta, Georgia, Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. And as we head over to the West Coast there, LAX over in LA. Now, I do want to bring you this post right here. This is coming in from the FAA. As they say, nearly 13,000 air traffic controllers have been working without pay for weeks, ensuring the safety of more than 50,000 daily operations across the national airspace system. As we head into the weekend, a surge in callouts is straining staffing levels at multiple facilities, leading to widespread impacts across the NAS. Currently, half of our core 30 facilities are experiencing staffing shortages, and nearly 80% of air traffic controllers are absent at New York area facilities. After 31 days without pay, air traffic controllers are under immense stress and fatigue. The shutdown must end so that these controllers receive the pay they've earned and travelers can avoid further disruptions and delays. As we continue to reiterate, we will never compromise on safety. When staffing shortages occur, the FAA will reduce the flow of air traffic to maintain safety. This may result in delays or cancellations. And of course, that is exactly what we've seen. Want to talk about the situation in general here. So let's bring in a friend of the show. We do have Matthew Whiz Buckley, retired Navy FA-18 fighter pilot, Top Gun grad, former American Airlines and FedEx pilot, and the founder of No Fallen Heroes Foundation. Whiz, thank you so much, as always, for being here with us.
Good morning, Josh. Happy Sunday. Thanks for having me.
Happy Sunday. Well, first off, I do want to ask you, we heard a little bit there from the FAA, but what is the current situation there at airports nationwide, especially when you talk about air traffic controllers, pilots, all of it?
It's not horrific, but it's going to get worse. This isn't getting any better. When you just read that statement from the FAA, I've been involved in multiple mishap investigations, and it's links in a chain. And I'm almost reading like what could be put in a mishap report, going back to what happened. You and I debriefed the Potomac midair disaster a couple times. There was an air traffic controller in that tower that was working two jobs. They were getting a paycheck at the time, and they made a human error. So whether you're an aviator, air traffic control, or maintenance, in aviation, you need to be at the top of your game. You shouldn't be stressed. You shouldn't be worried. I have people's lives in my hand. So reading that report from the FAA, I'm almost like reading a future mishap report, and I pray to God that doesn't happen.
Yeah, we definitely all hope that that doesn't happen. What does fatigue look like when you talk about with pilots? You talk about the air traffic controllers, specifically air traffic controllers, because they're directing so much air traffic. What does fatigue really look like for them?
Well, as aviators, air traffic controllers, we're taught to compartmentalize. Right? When we go into the cockpit or they go into the tower or the TRACON, they're supposed to compartmentalize and shut out all life stressors that aren't involved in the job, right? If you're having problems at home or this or that or the other thing, or in this case, you're not getting a paycheck, that's supposed to disappear. You're supposed to put that into a little compartment and you're supposed to be able to focus on the mission. It's extremely tough, right? Especially in this case where the people who have the government shut down are getting paid. So your family's going hungry, you're missing a mortgage payment, but the people that caused this thing are getting paid. I don't know how you compartmentalize. I've had to do this in the past, and I'm telling you, it's a challenge. So I am definitely worried this is going to get worse. I'm actually scheduled to fly up to Boston on Tuesday, down here out of Palm Beach. I'm flying up to, I never thought I'd say this, I'm going up to speak at Harvard Law about veterans and psychedelics. Josh, I'm getting to the airport. I think I'm going to sleep there. I'm going to get out at least 3 to 4 hours early. And pray that this doesn't get canceled. But fatigue and situational awareness, you got to be at the top of your game, and not getting paid is one of the major life stressors. Death of a family member, divorce, and financial issues. Those are the top three things whenever we look at aviation mishaps that have come into play as human factors. And guess what? We're at the bottom here, and it's only, when in a hole, you're supposed to cease digging, and we're not. This is getting worse.
And this is actually from the Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy saying more than half, 64.8% of Friday's flight delays were due to staffing in air traffic control towers. That's a record for the shutdown. Schumer and Jeffries must end their hostage takeover of our government and our skies. Democrats come to the table, reopen the government now. So my question for you here, when we talk about all of this, we do have several different live images, as I mentioned, that show the different busy airports across the country. And a lot of us will say that Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport in Atlanta could be the busiest airport across the country. Some might debate that, but you can see a live look right here. And we also have another busy airport. This is over at LAX. My question for you, do you have any idea which airports, which regions are under the most strain right now, or really is it all of them?
It's the major cities, right? New York, Washington, Chicago, LA, San Fran. Any of the large cities have the most air traffic, right? And the most air traffic controllers and shifts. So you lose any people, any required personnel at any of these airports, it's going to impact the staffing. And, I don't fault any of these people for doing what they have to do. If they have to call out sick so they have to take on a part-time job, that's what they got to do. However, when somebody calls out, one of these controllers calls out sick, somebody has to replace them, right? So you're putting the extra workload on your brothers and your sisters who aren't getting paid as well. So, and that's also going to make people feel bad. I know a lot of air traffic controllers, and they are mission focused. They're focused on the safety of the flying public and doing their job to the best that they can, or bad things can happen. And when they have to say, you know what, I'm not sick, but I got to call out sick because I got to do something to pay my mortgage, that hurts. That's going to hurt these individuals. So I salute all of them. This is the time, folks, if you're delayed or you're sitting on the runway for an extra hour or two, you shouldn't be getting angry. If you want to get angry at somebody, get angry at the folks that are keeping the government shut right down. And, I have to give a quick shout out to some other folks in the government that aren't getting paid. United States military, right? The average air traffic controller, if you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they can make nice six figures. That's essentially what a general officer makes in the United States military. But the vast majority of our enlisted personnel, I think the last numbers were close to 40%, are on food stamps. And guess what? The food stamps are also being shut off as well. So this is an absolute train wreck, and it's infuriating to me as a taxpayer that we are in this position. I saw an old clip from President Obama just ripping apart government shutdowns for no reason, and here we are. I don't know what Minority Leader Schumer and Minority Leader Jeffries are doing, man. This is just out of control.
And this is actually a post from the White House here. It's an article from Reuters saying that air traffic control absences surge, hitting almost half of major U.S. airports. So again, we're making sure that folks know out there this is a situation. And a lot of people are saying, normally you'd say arrive at the airport 2 hours early, but that might not be enough.
Correct.
And then your flight might be canceled or delayed. So you don't really know. My last question for you, what's your message to air traffic controllers, troops, their families, all of them who are working without pay right now?
Well, they're incredible Americans. They're putting in the work. The United States military, these air traffic controllers, the TSA agents are working for free right now. And obviously, we can take our anger out at the politicians because they're at fault. But these men and women must know that we, the people, the American people, are mortified. We're upset. We're angry. We support you. I'm going to bring some cookies, some candy, and a bunch of stuff as I go through security. I'm going to sprinkle stuff around like Santa Claus. Say some nice words, folks. Again, do not take your anger out on the TSA, the air traffic controllers, the pilots. It is not their fault. Pick up the phone and call your local congressman or your two senators, and it is their fault. And specifically, not to get too political, it's the Democrats. 4 or 5 Democrats at last count need to come over with Fetterman and some other folks and open the government. And thank you on behalf of we the people to our controllers and the young men and women in the United States military. We support you and God bless you.
Matthew Whiz Buckley, thank you again for taking the time to be here. Anything we missed? Anything you want to make sure to add here before I let you go?
No, Josh, and again, you always got to ask me this question. I'm gonna reaffirm that flying is the safest way. I don't know too many pilots or air traffic controllers who are not going to do their best job. Just know that flying is still safe right now, folks. But we could do without these self-imposed stressors. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you again for taking the time to be here. We appreciate it as always.
You bet, Josh. Thanks.